Okay, training mode. Let's do it.
Character select.
Okay, so this first part I'm gonna need. Let's use Wrath. Yeah.
Vaseraga.
Coliseum, I need...
Coliseum.
Is volume good?
Grand versus Vaseraga.
Alright, good. So, alright, so I have noticed that people definitely do not know what is going on when they fight this character for understandable reasons. However, people online are definitely tripping because the people I fought in top 8 definitely knew, but I think part of it was people messing up because of the tournament setting. So for the other people that don't know, let's help these people. Let's help these people out. You know, I'm mainly going to cover like the really important things, and then if people have questions, I can just get to answering you. Alright? So, let's get started. So, first off, yeah, I'm mainly talking about fighting against Vaseraga particularly. So, first off, as you can see, both of his buttons are very long. However, you have to keep in mind that these buttons aren't really that fast. Let me turn on the volume. This is actually mad loud. Here should be good. So his 5L is plus on block, but it's 8 frames. So you have to be just be mindful of this. It also has a decently high attack level. So let me see if I can get it to say crush. Okay, that's that punish. Punish. Yeah, sometimes it can like crush lights. Yeah, crush right there. It has a higher attack level than average, so it can't crush. So keep that in mind when you're like throwing out light buttons in neutral. It has like the priority of a medium button. So yeah, 5M is like nothing too special aside from the range. The main thing is that it's 11 frames, so it's slower than average. 5L is like the main like quick poke that he would press. 5M is like so if you need something like a little more. So this will be like the heavy in most other characters' cases. 5H, of course, it reaches like round start distance. But there are a few things you need to be mindful of when this is a thing. First off, the bare minimum startup on his 5H is 19 frames. He can't hold it, however, so I suggest you be careful when you're like getting willy-nilly when you see like a startup animation. Just be mindful that he can delay it a bit. And even bigger thing is that when he does delay it, when he does delay it, he will get armor. As you can see with the armor icon appearing on the right. So there are two uses for the delay that he would mainly use it for. One is that if people are trying to counter poke the heavy, because his hurt box does extend a fair amount, he can just hold it slightly and punish you for it. The other use is that it gets armor if you delay it. So if you think someone's gonna charge in at you with a brawling move like this, he can get punishes. But that's more like a hard read, because the armor's kind of late. Another weakness of this normal is that it is very bad on block. It's double-digit minus, so he has to cancel into something. So there are a few things that he'll generally cancel into. He'll either do fireball, go in a stance, or he'll do tackle. Or he'll do L tackle. So we'll just talk about them as one by one. So main L tackle is like the first one. Generally, because of the priority, it'll crush most life unless it's like it's a really awkward spacing. The lights will generally lose. So this will beat out like you mashing light in a lot of situations. However, at like the spacing where it would generally be plus, you can technically jump, but let me try to simulate this. Yeah, he can't really anti-air it unless, I think even with armor it's not even that good. So let me check armor just to be sure. Yeah, you can generally get punished as almost. You can generally get the punish. So neutral jump is good if you think it's coming. It's just the problem here is that if you wait too long, you could put yourself in a bad spot, or just straight up get hit. So you can only really neutral jump if you know. And then, of course, like DP is like really easy answer if you do have it. However, there is one more answer I do need to talk about, and that's spot dodging. So let me make. I'm not too sure if I'm doing this right. So spot dodging is really nice for like getting your advantage here. It's not punishable, but you can put him in a situation where he has to block. Because he'll be minus. But, so like you can get offense here. Tackle can be parried, yes. So generally at this range, you usually won't use B tackle mainly for this reason. Because at this range, I believe it's punishable on block. Oh, it's not? I must have did the 5H from too close. Yeah, I must have did the 5H from too close. So at like tip 5H range is not punishable, but he's still kind of minus. So you have to be mindful. So like that can be safe if it's properly spaced, but you have to be mindful. If you spot dodge this, though, if you spot dodge V tackle though, that's usually a punish. It's very rarely not a punish. Because I'm even pressing M normally in punishes. However, if you think it's B tackle coming, then the Vaseraga can do this and they read you. And then you get counter hit, and if you're in the corner, this happens, and then you take like 50% because you were being greedy. So I suggest that you lab the specific things you have for it. So, because options vary between characters, so one thing that does come up that I think I should probably mention right now is let me find who has parries. We'll check normal parry. So, because like if he has armor, then B and EX tackle have the armor buff on them. So depending on your character, mashing DP might not be a good idea because of the potential risks. Unless you have like a 3-hit DP. Because it really depends. Yeah, so like normally you could use the XDP because it's fast enough. So, but her other parry, this doesn't look too hot. So, like, you last through the active frames, but you're probably still getting bodied. Let me just check this to make sure. Oh, there's so much hit stop that the recording messed up. That was a punish, yeah. So Narmia can get bodied here. You have to use the XDP in both cases. Yeah, Narmia has to use EXDP in both cases. So no matter stance. So yeah, some characters have character-specific options. I suggest you lab them. If your character has a DP, generally, if it's only 2 hits, you're gonna get bodied. If he has armor, if it's 3 hits, then it should work. But just be mindful of whether or not he has the buff or not. So, other than like his standing buttons, his crouching buttons aren't really anything to write home about. Just know that he does not have a 5-frame button. The only thing that he has is like 5 frames is like his armor. So, which leads me to the next point, which is the way his armor buff works. Let me go back to Gran, because I'm really gonna need him for this section. Alright, so let's talk about armor. Not just the armor moves, but more so the properties of armor itself. Because this is actually very important. So, as you most of y'all already know. So let me turn Soul Force on default. When he presses 5U, he flexes and gets the buff. If you can't keep track of his body where he's literally just like radiating energy, you'll see an icon right by his special moves of his mask just glowing. That's how you'll know he has armor if you don't feel like just looking at his body. So, the only move that has armor when he doesn't have the buff is this. It's Stance U. And this move is infinite armor. Yeah, that move's infinite armor. So, that move kind of breaks the rules. But I'll get the Stance U when I start talking about Stance a bit later. So, yeah, outside of that, without buff, he doesn't have any armor on his moves. When he does get it, so let me turn this back on. The moves that get armor are as follows: 5U, charge 5H, charge 2H, B and EX tackle, all versions of Stance, and all of their follow-ups. The armor persists throughout, and 5U, just pressing it again, it will get armor. Please save like the questions until like I finish up so I don't get sidetracked too much. I'll get to you though. Just remind me a bit later. Yes, close 5H2 also gets armor. Okay, so all those moves get armor. Important thing, and this is very important, is that the armor buff kicks in on frame 5. So like let me do a frame trap for Gran. So like 5L into 5H close is a 5-frame gap. So let me just do it. So I should have him set to do 5U. Yeah, I'm gonna have him do 5U. It's a 5-frame gap. Armor kicks in. So now I'm just gonna do close in, close in. Armor gets beat. This is a 4-frame gap. So if the Vaseraga player is match happy with the armor on defense, you need to keep your frame traps in a way that you can check the armor startup. It's basically the equivalent of a 5-frame jab in a lot of ways. But let's say you mess up. So let's say you mess up, right? And you triggered the armor. So how you handle it is going to going to vary a lot. There are definitely some situations where you can't really do anything. Like, let's say they did something like this, and they did something like this, you threw a fireball or something, and then you just get bodied. Bear in mind that you can still try to do something in a lot of cases. Yeah, you can still try to do something in most cases. Yeah, that time I couldn't cancel. Yeah, that one I could try something. You still have your cancels, because armor is basically like you're actually doing something on hit or block. So, you still have your cancel options. But you are affected by hit stop, so depending on the distance, you might still get bodied. This mainly comes in when you're running offense, so you just need to be wary. So, like, if you auto-piloted your combo, it basically acts like you're doing something on hit. So if you're buffering your inputs, let's say you buffered auto combo, right? In Grand's case, he's getting bodied because he's already in the air. So like, just try to just try your best and try to finish the whole thing and hope that you can actually hit him. But for other characters, they're not as lucky. So, like, let me go to Charlotta, because this is, like, the one time I did it in a tournament on defense. Because... yeah, because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all remember this Teresa match where he was doing staggers, and then I just did it. No, 5... oh, dang, I forgot to mention this. But, like, outside of stance U, you only get 2 hits of armor. On the 3rd hit, you'll break it. Oh, that's what this up. Yeah, on the 3rd hit, you'll break it and counter hit him. That goes for everything except for stance U that's armored. So, in this situation, I'm pretty sure I'll remember the Teresa match where, like, you did this. So, if you do, like, auto combo staggers when he has armor, 5U is actually a pretty valid option. However, what Teresa could have done, they could have canceled the DP and just try to get it really quickly. That was their only option aside from super. If you block it, he is punishable. However, if you get hit, he is like plus 13. Yeah, it's punishable if you block it. Like, you get most of your stuff. But on hit, he basically wins. Because this is what happens when you get hit. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens when you get hit. And if you don't have super on non-counter hit, you generally do this usually. Which is still a lot. So that's just a general like the risk reward of like using it. Both of you generally gonna take full combos if you're wrong. But Vaseraga is generally gonna kill you if you're wrong when he decides to use this. Just be mindful of that. So like when you're doing staggers like this, be careful when you're like delaying your buttons. If you have a DP, please use it. If you have super and you convert a situation, please use it. That's one of the ways you can save yourself. So, when it comes to the tackles, the armor on this, you generally won't be using it in the defensive situation. This is more so in neutral. It's on B and it's on B and EX mainly. So, for the character, so for let me do the action input. So, we'll say alright. So this is a good way to talk about tackle right now. So depending on distance, his tackle will be plus on block. Kind of like a lot of other moves like this type. It's just a bit easier with this one because since you have varying distances on the move. So I'll show frame advantage. Yeah, at that range, he didn't have advantage. So at this, I think it's this range. Nah, still advantage for your opponent. Even. Yeah, that one was even too. Yeah, it's usually. That's probably around the range where it's 0. So at that rate, B tackle is generally harder to make plus. However, A tackle, it's very easy to make plus. Yeah, A tackle is very easy to make plus. However, the downside of this, compared to other moves of its type, since you have varied distances, is the startup. The minimum startup of tackle is around it's 19 frames for L tackle. Like L is 19, M is 26, H is 27. L at point blank is -8, M at point blank is -12, and H at point blank is -4 because of the fact that he does 2. You'll see him press this a lot because of the attack level priority on tackle is very high. You are not really counterpoking this. So he'll often do this a lot to stuff buttons. And in general, just get frame advantage at long range. It gets him in. I don't think this command... Yeah, I don't think this is going to be working its walk. Yeah, if you sit still too much, he can EX throw you, but at this particular range where he's plus, you can walk backwards to try to avoid the throw without like trying to jump and bodying yourself. You just leave yourself open to getting hit low. Yeah. So yeah, I always question that about training mode. Like, me 0 to -4. Up back, If it's like absolute max range tackle, up back is very valid. You'll just take a hit. So I think it'll be fine so long as they don't have super. But it's like, if it's like absolute max range, your jump starter will get stuffed. So just keep that in mind. You have to eyeball the distance is like just determine if up back is worth it to you or not. So like B is really hard to make plus. EX is like you're not practically making that plus either. So it's mainly for plus frames you have to worry about L tackle the most because that's the one that comes up the most. But the armor on knees, he definitely uses a lot to like stuff pokes. It mainly comes up against fairy and fireball characters. So if they try to shoot a fireball at him and they have the re, you would usually use tackle to body the fireball tip and do a sizable amount of damage. Because tackle does a sizable chunk. Because like look at the damage. That's a lot for a move like that. And if they get the counter hit near the corners, this happens. Oh, whoops. Did not do. Dang, I dropped the combo. Dang, I dropped the combo again. Wow, I keep dropping it. I'm bad. No. That's like a really basic one. So like if I have the spacing for it, if they hit it at the right spacing, then this happens. I'm not even sure that's the optimal combo, but you generally are gonna die. Or another alternative combo would be something like this. Wow, I didn't get my 2H. I think my 2H again. And then they would like reset you and make you take the tackle meaty or something. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you're fighting against like B tackles in the corner. The risk of getting counter hit is pretty high, and the reward is high if he catches you in the corner. The last tidbit would be is the fact that he can delay B and EX tackle to like throw off twitch reactions. Charging it doesn't really do anything aside from throw off timings. So if you're flinching too much at this range, he can just hold the tackle for a little bit to throw you off, and then you might get counter hit and die. So yeah, just weigh the risk reward and respond accordingly. Okay, so now we're at the important part, which is let's talk about stance. So alright, so normal stance, of course, he goes in stance. B moves him backwards a little bit, and EX, he just automatically starts walking. Now there's a lot to like take in, so we're just gonna talk about specific points for now. But normal stance takes around the time the sight hits the floor is around the time you can hit button. Yeah, that's around the time that he can act from normal stance. With B stance, it's a little bit longer, but it's not that much longer. So if this frame data doc is correct, it takes him... It takes 22 frames before you can act? If the frame data doc is correct? EX stance is... It's hard to say, because they don't have the numbers for that one. Yeah, they don't have the numbers for that one, but it's definitely fast, because he can confirm from lights into it. So... So, the first, since we're basically getting to the walk, let's first talk about the walk. So, the first thing about walk is that the walks, each step does chip. Yeah, each step does chip, and each step has a very sizable gap. Yeah, each step has a sizable gap. So, the gap is big enough to where you can throw him. You have to commit to the throw. You generally have to commit to the throw, though. So, there are risks to this, but it's possible. If he has armor buff up, this is your main Abare option. No, if you get hit by walk, you're generally just gonna be stuck. It won't combo, but you'll be stuck there to take some chip. Or you'll have to max DP or something. So it's like the steps do chip. If you're close enough, you can technically roll in between. However, I don't recommend this because of reasons I'll explain later. Because, like, dang, I got hit right there. Because, like, you'll have to hard commit the roll. Because if you roll too late, you can generally get clipped. And he can cancel to the walk animation into moves at basically any time. It's like you can step forward, but the walk won't hit and do anything, including command throw. The walk can hit, and then you hit him. And then you just do the follow-up. All follow-ups, when you do like step into follow-up, immediately when it makes contact, it's a true block string. I think the only exception might be stance U, but I'll check right quick. Yeah, that's probably the only exception. Because the others are true block string. Yeah, the only exception is like stance U. So E. However, oh yeah, last point is that he can't stance cancel with like back while he's walking. Like you see my inputs. He has to be standing still in order to cancel in the back. You can only cancel the walk into attacks and command throw. EX stance, however, is a little different. Because the property of some of these moves change. Like, stance A recovers slightly faster to be +2 on block. All stance moves will hard knockdown. And there's like one more I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, that's right, he moves faster. Yeah, he moves slightly, just ever so faster. It's not a big difference, but it's definitely... It's like very slightly faster. But a lot of like the same counterplay applies, however. It's just that some options become very iffy unless you do it like right as you come out of block stun. Like you have to, like the timing on the throw changes slightly because of the speed increase. You don't delay the throw. You have to, the throw has to be immediate. Because normally if you threw this fast, on normal stance the throw will whiff. So let's talk about the follow-ups a bit more. So, a follow-up only really comes up when you're jumping in the air or walking backwards. This is his only follow-up that's plus on block. Yeah, because that's the only follow-up that where it's like plus on block. Where you're technically plus on block. Although you can't really take advantage of the frames. Usually. Stance B is the only low option in stance. This is the only low option. It's actually punishable on block. Yeah, this was actually punishable on block. It's -10. However, he can obviously space this out. This situation is actually pretty common. So part of the reason why Charlotta has issues is that she can't really punish a lot of these things. Yeah, it's like the stuff just doesn't reach. So let me get Grand. Cause I think he's one of the characters. Yeah, 5M barely doesn't reach. Because I'm doing step. Yeah, it doesn't reach. We try a low button. Wow, block stun. Doesn't reach. So 5As. Doesn't reach in time. It reaches what I've already recovered. So the main characters that come up when it comes to this punish in particular are Fairy and Zeta. So you're gonna have to lab and see if your character can punish that particular one at that distance. But Zeta's like... I think it's like the example that comes off the top of my head. Yeah, because Zeta can punish, is one of the only characters that can punish this particular situation. Wait, what's the... It's -10. Okay, yeah. Zeta gets a... Yeah, Zeta's one of the characters that gets a punish here. Because she can 2M. So, the other one is Fairy. Yeah, the other one is Fairy, so... Well, I put Fairy on the wrong side, so... Oh, God. I am... definitely looking dumb. So, Fairy, her normals go too far, so she generally gets punished for some opening. Yeah, cause she gets the match sweep. So against fairies that know the punish, I generally do not do it at this range unless they are not punishing. Like, I'll do it from... It's like, I'll do it from like a little bit farther out, like right around here. Yeah, because here's a little bit more valid, because the most I'm going to take here is a 5M. I think the only other thing I could probably take in this situation is her SSBA. Let me check the SARP again. 7+3. So this should technically punish. Wait, that's not read? Whoops, I didn't read. Come on. Probably doesn't reach in time. Let me do it, cause like, let me do it from a little closer. Okay, it's a distance thing, yeah. So if I do it from too close, she can SSDA. Yeah. So, Labier punishes on this specifically. Mainly stomp, mainly walk into immediate, like into immediate stance B, because that's like the most common one to try to call a fuzzy jump. Yeah, that too. So like against Fairy, he can't really do it when she has meter. Catalina, I think she matches 2M. Oh, 5-year punishes. If it's more properly spaced, she should be fine. But this is like, this one's pretty common because it calls out for the jump. So, she gets 5M. I'm pretty sure 2M works too considering this one. You get 5M and 2M. Oh, she gets 5 H2. I don't think super. Yes, super doesn't work. So you have to do 5 H when you do this. So yeah, most characters with decent range have punishes. Like characters like Gran and Charlotta tend to have more issues. Now this leads into stance C. So this stance follow-up is safe on block because it's only like slightly minus. If you want a specific number, it's -3 if I remember correctly. Let me check. The -4. Okay. Yeah, it's -4 flight pushback. There isn't anything really too special about this one aside from two things mainly. One is that if he charges this particular follow-up, it's a guard break, at which he's +13, so he gets a full combo. And two is that if you get counter hit by this one particularly, he's almost always going to pick up the combo. Stance B lets him get combos on counter hit because of the range that you use it at, it doesn't really matter. But for this follow-up, it does matter. Because the combos do like 50%. Because like, without using cooldowns, that was like 40%. And if I use one cooldown, that's what happens. That's mid-screen, by the way.
Excellent.
But then after that, he either does like 2M, 5M, or jab, depending on the height. But yeah, basically 50%. So he uses this one if he thinks you're about to mash. Can he get sweep in the EX stance? Yes. Whoops, I haven't done it. Oh, or do you mean mid combo? Oh, in that combo, so let me check. So, I think that's more like a corner thing. And the corner's a little bit easier. But you typically would want to use 2H instead because it's slightly more. So yeah, that's the counter hit fishing option, or the option that you use for chip, because this follow-up does the most damage along with stance U. So a common way for Vaseraga to get chip is to do block string, step in a stance U, and that does like a decent amount of chip. So let me turn up a health recovery. Yeah, that was like a nice little chunk of chip. That combined with the fireball chip is gonna add up. Or if you take like more than one step into that, it's gonna be a decent amount of chip you're gonna have to worry about. So the last follow-up is stance U. Well, aside from command throw anyway. So this is the really important knowledge check. As I said earlier, this one has infinite armor. However, what people need to keep in mind is that this is a -11 on block. Literally every character can punish this. Yeah, literally every character punishes this. It's like, Catalina has a pretty easy time. Because, like, she just presses 5-8 punches. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier on Safe. Because of the aforementioned thing, that move has infinite armor, this makes Super a not so good idea against stance unless you know you can get the life lead off it. Unless you're Ladiva and have a command throw super, or like Beelzebub, you generally don't want to super the stance. And then last but not least is the fact that he can do command throw while in stance. I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain this much further. The only thing I really need to say is that he can basically cancel walk at any time into it, so this allows him to have command throw threat at any range. Because normally this would whiff, but if he buffers walk into it, he'll get the command throw. So every time he goes to the stance, you have to be wary of the command throw. The command throw is always an option. Otherwise, he can't really command throw you from that far, which I'll get to in a bit. So like, even for like Hulk range. Most people don't do that though, because it's a rough input. Like, if you want like full damage anyway, and be able to keep looping. Which leads into the command throw, so... Alright, I'm gonna need to switch Vaseraga. I'm gonna need Vaseraga on my side for this. It's typical command throw fare, but there are a few things you need to keep in mind of. Because his close L is +5 on block. So normally you can mash on this. I'll turn this off. So yeah, so normally characters can mash on this just fine. However, you knock them down and things change a little bit. If you get a meaty jab, this makes it so that 6-frame characters can no longer mash. So long as I do the meaty properly. Oh wow, I messed up the input. Wow, I got close again. Dang, I am bad at this input, huh? Let me do simple input. There we go. But yeah, 6-frame characters can't match on this. However, 5-framers is a little different. So if I do this to a 5-framer, since we don't really have active frame data yet, it's kind of hard to call if you can do this to them. Because typically for 5-framers, yeah, okay, yes, throw and boom makes it so I can't do it. Yeah, 5-framers will be able to match, but 6-framers won't. Whoops, I'm gonna do an actual frame cylinder. Yeah, so 5-framers can match, 6-framers can't, if it's meaty. So, bear that in mind. That's pretty important. So yeah, that basically does it for that move. In terms of this fireball, well, I'll just talk about the fireball right quick. So, as you can tell by the frame advantage, viewer, let me turn off counterattack. L fireball is always safe, even at close range. It's just slow startup. B fireball is not safe. However, it's the faster one of the two because of the strike beforehand. This strike can also counter poke you, so you'll often see Vaseragas do this against Fairy. The first part is 12 frame startup, but it's -9 on block. So if they do it at point blank, you can usually get a punish. However, if they do block strings into it, generally not going to get a punish. In most cases. So let me go back to Fairy. I think she's one of the main ones that actually gets somewhat of a punish, even on a block string. Okay, that didn't punish. So let me try 5L. Okay, yeah. So long as they do a block string, they won't. So long as they do a decent block string, you won't be able to really punish, but you can take your turn in like the poking war. Am I entering final round? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I figured I'd go just to get the points. So y'all see me there. But where was I? But so yeah, B fireball is faster, but it has more recovery and typically will not be plus ever. Unless it's like really far. Yeah, at that point it was like even-ish. Usually you're like 0 to -1 or something. But like at this. But like a fireball is very easy to make plus. So when you're saying like right around here, it's throwing fireballs, it's a nice way for him to get chipped, so you have to be careful. Yeah, you can get a bigger punish if for some reason you're blocking at this range. I think this is one of the few cases where, like... if you're in punish range, that in. So, yeah, that's the main thing you have to keep in mind about the fireball. Also, one last thing, EX fireball is +6 minimum. Yeah, it's +6 minimum. Really easy for him to frame trap you. This also means when the Vaseraga does something like this, mashing should honestly be the last thing you're doing. Unless it's a low profile button. So, alright. Yeah, that basically does it for special moves. So, let's talk about his supers. So, this is also a pretty decent knowledge check. So, his supers are not that fast at all. They're quite slow. Actually, let me get Zeta, because she doesn't really have plus frames. Even if they're not watching the stream, I'm going to upload to YouTube, so people will get to see. Alright, so... let's get the numbers again. His regular super is 6 plus 11. That's a 17 frames. This is garbage. So I'm gonna set on the block. And just do the super on block. Zeta, as we know, doesn't exactly have the best frames. So like if you do something like just normal staggers with lights, you'll be fine. The only time you probably won't be fine is if you try to force yourself on minus frames. Like if you do like auto combo and try to stay in. Those are like the only times where you probably won't be fine. You probably got to get hit. But other than that, so long as you have the plus frames and do lights, you generally don't have to worry about the super. Because you'll always be able to block. Which leads into his other super. So this super is this super is quite a bit faster than the other one. Because it's 8 plus 7, which is 15 frames. However, this one has a catch. It's at guard point. Now, you would think this would be good, but because of the post-flash frames, it's actually not that good outside of Pacific scenarios. So a lot of the same things that the other Super will lose to, this one loses to as well. Because in order for this Super to lose, you would have to meet... It would have to make contact very late. And even then, it can still lose against certain characters. If you do... What determines whether or not you can save yourself depends on words. It depends on attack level. So normals in the air generally have a low attack level, but most characters do not have air DPs of the sort. So his super is generally a good anti-air on most characters. However, on the ground, it's a different story. However, if the attack level's too high, you won't be able to save yourself. Because then that happens. Yeah, just counter hit. So I'm about to do it in the heavy. Got bodied. So this depends a lot on what you've done. Attack levels aren't universal, so you need to lap which normals let you spot dodge the punish. Even when you activate the guard point. And this also leads into another thing. This super on Wake Up is a bit special. I didn't do safe correctly. So against a lot of characters, I messed up again. So you preferably want to safe jump this. If you're going to safe jump this, you need to make sure it's perfect. So that way you don't get trolled. Like the attack level on Zeta's normals are so pathetic that she can safe jump it just fine no matter the normal. But some characters will have issues if you try to use heavier normals. So let me get grand. Zeta only really gets trolled by that if she doesn't have super and tries to safe jump with like JU or something like, well, JU specifically, because it just recalls her back up. But did it perfectly that time. But if you don't do it perfectly, you can get trolled. So like for other characters, like you kind of get trolled depending on what happens. So you just have to be careful with that. So practice your safe jumps. Preferably use your light normal when jumping in on him for your safe jump, so it just gives you a little bit more leeway. There you go. So just practice your safe jumps to make sure that it actually does work. Or better yet, just meaty jab. Like, just meaty jab to wake up. Although Greg can press whatever he wants. You mainly set up safe jumps from like hard knockdowns, which would be like sweep and EX moves. Against Vasaraga's super, his super is specifically guard point, so if you don't use your safe jump perfectly or have something in the air to save yourself, you're gonna die. But generally, you want to do meaty jab against Vasaraga and wake up, since that'll cover both reversals. But yeah, only Zeta and Lancelot have options in the air to save themselves. The main one that comes up for that is Zeta. Lancelot is like very specific situation. Other than that, that's mainly all the stuff I wanted to talk about. Were there any Vasaraga questions that the chat had that I didn't really cover? Or for people that got in late? Anyone? Yeah. Yeah, I mainly went over the stance buttons and like the properties of walk. I assume people will put that together, but I probably should talk about it just to make sure. So, as I said earlier, he can cancel walk at any point into buttons. For most characters, when fighting against him, I noticed that I have to stay close to him so he won't charge armor. Is that the game plan when fighting him? Against most characters, you generally want to stay in a range is that if he decides to charge up in neutral, you can just hit him for it. So, Grand, like, you want to be like right around here, so that this way you're in your optimal range, and if he tries to charge up, just hit him, kill him for it, then start running offense. Grant can do the fireball game. You just need to be careful of like, just don't autopilot it too much, because I'll just let him charge up. Don't forget to threaten with boot at specific ranges if they're getting too happy charging up. But generally, if your character can hit him from farther out, they're generally better against him, like Catalina. So like, Zeta comes to mind, although she has issues for like different reasons. Fairy, of course, Matera, everything. But let me like talk a little bit more about stance in terms of like the RPS. So the three options, as I said, that work well, that are universal, are throw. The three options that work universally are throw, spot dodge, but that's mainly for when they press, when you think they're gonna press buttons. And jump. Yeah, jump is basically the main one you want to use for command throw. So these are the three universal answers that you have depending on what he does. Throw loses to basically any stagger stance follow-up. You'll get counter hit, and then because due to the timing that you have to throw, you basically are guessing on the throw. This leaves you open to getting frame trap. And when that counter hits, you're gonna take like 50% if you're in the corner. 40% usually mid-screen, unless he feels like spending cooldowns. It can be delayed anything. H is just the one that they're gonna usually want. And there's different ways that he can delay it too. So he can do EX stomp and then wait slightly, then H. Cause this way it keeps him slightly closer. Or he can do H, slightly charge it, and then H. Cause that one pushes him a little bit farther away. Because of Stomp's pushback. It makes it a little bit harder to throw him. It's a little bit hard to blow him up in certain ways if he does it that way. So the spacing can vary too. He can frame trap with the other buttons too, but you generally want to use H. Staggered B is mainly used to call out fuzzy jump. Or he can just delay the H more to call out fuzzy jump. Spot dodge is good. Spot dodge is good mainly if you see him, if you think he's going to do a frame trap with a follow-up. Because if you call out the follow-up, you'll generally get punishes. Yeah, because that was a 6 frame button. Yeah, that was a 7 frame button, so you should be. That would generally get you combos, depending on your timing. If you do stomp into B, you won't get a combo, but if he has EX stance, he will get a hard knockdown, so he'll be able to run another situation on you. Stomp into delayed C is the most rewarding way to call out jump. Because if he hits you in the air with this, you're basically dead. Because he can get a combo on air hit and counter hit. So just be mindful of that. Spot dodge mainly loses to the command throw. However, if they're really getting annoyed at you, I'm not timing it properly. Yeah, that's... This is a bit hard to do consistently, but if they call you out with that, you're basically dead. But this is kind of hard to do, so they'll generally won't do this to you. Yeah, it's a bit hard to do, so they will have to wait and see. Yeah, they would have to wait and see. But if they do call you out like that, you basically lost too. So that loses to basically just waiting or doing command throw. Because obviously spot dodge does not have throw involved, so you can get by that too. And last but not least is basically jumping. So this is like your main option to beat command throw. However, this one loses to just him just waiting on you or doing literally anything else. That he can either just wait, yeah, either wait and do a follow-up and now kill you nice and easy. Wait and do C follow-up if he's killing himself. This one generally doesn't happen though. You're usually taking the A follow-up. Because that was just too hard to do consistently. So you're generally going to take an A follow-up into another Oki situation or him buffing back up. So you have to be mindful. Yeah, that's generally like the RPS. You generally are going to have to guess depending on what the Vaseraga player likes to do. However, I will say I suggest you be completely willing to take the command throw. Because if you get counter hit, it's generally not worth it. So let's talk about slightly more character-specific answers like DP. So if your character has a 3-hit DP, which is typically their EX, this is a really good option because it beats like a whole, because the RPS changes basically. This makes it so that the Vaseraga player has to do specific answers. Yeah, because as you can see, the invuln because of the head stops, let me just carry through. Yeah, the head stop on Grand's DP really saves him here. This forces him to use Stance U a whole lot more. However, depending on character, this can be a little iffy. So this basically forces him to do something more unsafe. So this varies by DP to DP. Grand is in the privilege category, to where like it's not quite as easy to punish him. However, I can do this, however. Like, just having the DP is good. However, because there's so much hit stop on his BDP, this lets me do something like this. Oh man, loading times are garbage. I don't need this anymore. So, if it's in a situation like this, so if it's like normal stance walk, I have to make sure I time it right, but the Vaseraga player, if they're waiting on it, they can react to the hit stop of the DP, and then stance U on reaction. Against Gran is actually very easy so long as you practice it. However, it's not that great mid-screen because that happens a lot. So like, specifically for Gran, you have to practice the timing. So that way it hits around the time they're coming down when it races around the midsection. So it just don't randomly whiff on you. So like you get the knockdown. Yeah, you get the knockdown and then just run it. So let me get a more privileged one, which is Catalina. So there's one great thing about for Catalina and one bad thing for Catalina. So the good thing is that because of the hits on her DP, because of how fast they go, I don't think it's reasonable to react to the hit stop of the DP hitting the armor. Yeah, this doesn't look reasonable to do. At least not in the heat of the moment. It's probably possible. Cause like, let me set the random. Wait, is it always just gonna do? Okay, neutral position. And neutral position. Okay, let me do this right. Okay. Okay, it's probably reasonable to do it, but you need to practice. Because if you're just off by a little bit, that'll happen. So, like, she's one of the harder ones to do. While it's still possible, it's hard. So, now the last one is Charlotta, which is, like, the max privilege. This is the max privilege DP option. In terms of, like, regular DPs. So, in her case, her DP hits so many times so quickly that it doesn't even really matter. She just gets to do it. Yeah, it's like... Yeah, it hits so many times, it's so fast back to back that you can't react in time to press stance U. You'll just get hit. So against her, you have to hard read the DP. It's like, it's full-blown RPS at this point. So, both sides are guessing really hard. Yeah, both sides are guessing really hard. Makes it very annoying. So that's something to keep in mind. Lab your options. So, in terms of like other characters dealing with that, aside from the ones I mentioned, Lancelot has like this, like the EX teleport. That one typically loses the waiting, but I do have to eyeball it and keep an eye on it. Percival's DP has a lot of hit stops, so it's really easy to just stance U it. Lavida doesn't really have anything, but her command grabs can be used in place of throws. And her super is a throw, so she's one of the only characters that can actually super stance. So when she has meter, I have to tackle it differently. Okay, so let me do... I don't know the name of her command throw. Never mind. I think I found it. So yeah, she can do command throw instead of normal throw since it's fast enough. But it loses to the usual options throw loses to. Yeah, it loses to the same usual options. It's just high reward for her. Then there's also the super. So yeah, then there's also the super. I have to treat it I have to call it out differently. So you have to treat it just like how you're dealing with the throw. Which means that you have to do delay button. Because if I wait, I'm gonna get bodied. So which means she gets to spot dodge more than other characters would. When she has meter. And the SSBA is like, good luck. That's just not happening. I'm just getting thrown. Yeah, in most cases I'm just getting thrown. I would have to do Pacific block strings to not get bodied. What about normalized DP? Let me check. Let me get to her. I'll get to her in a bit. So Matera has only system mechanics to work with. She doesn't really have anything specific. However, Matera does bring up one thing that I do need to talk about. Is stance and neutral, because I do notice people get blown up by this. So stance and neutral is a matchup specific thing. Since, as of course, stance has only 2 hits of armor before you just get hit out of it. So if your character has an EX fireball of any kind, there's almost no reason not to do it if you see him doing this. Because not only do you knock him down, but you also get the Oki. Like if you have that 3-hit EX fireball, like if they do it from any... If they try to walk at you from anywhere that's not here, please shoot them. Please shoot them. But yeah, I not to mention that. So well, Wayne gets freed up particularly because even though has the parry, I don't think it helps against armor at all. Let me just fact check to make sure. Oh, I see. Okay, his actually works. Okay, so his parry actually works, but it loses the same thing Fro does. So his RPS would just be slightly different. Yes. Yeah, basically loses the command throw and delaying the follow-up. So yeah, his counter is actually useful in this matchup. That's good to know. I didn't know that till just now. Fairy... Now, she of course has the DP. But with practice you can react to the hit stop. So it's on you to like make sure that you enforce the throw. But there's also one other thing about her DPs that's not so good against this. I'm not sure if I can replicate it in like a block string situation though. So, like, one, I could definitely react to it. I could definitely react to the hit stop just fine. Like, stuff like this takes practice, though. Most Vaseragas are not going to be able to really do this to you on reaction. I did set this to random, right? Oh, it's just picking freaking... Let me add one more neutral position. There we go. So... You can react to the hit stop, but also depending on spacing, she can get trolled. Yeah, depending on spacing, she can get trolled. So... Yeah, because stuff like that can happen. Yeah, so stuff like that can happen if they just do the DP. It's something to consider. There's also at least her getting lit by this, because I'm pretty sure Native showed this on Twitter before. So if they don't know about this, they can get freed up. I gotta be faster. I don't remember the spacing Native did it at. I need to find it. No, he backed up. There has to be a way to set that up. Let me see if I can show it. Yes, on range. Yeah, that's probably... Most people aren't gonna do that, but there's like a specific scenario where she can get trolled like that if she just tries to wake up DP stance. It's just something to keep in mind. Well, here's the tweet. I can just link it here. So, yeah, there are specific situations where Fairy can just get trolled. So it's just something to keep in mind. So, next up is Zeta. So this one I'm going to need to talk about a little bit. Because hers is a little weird. Alright, so Zeta doesn't exactly have the best options. However, she does have a few I do need to talk about. So she has this. What's the input? No, not that. This. Yeah. So this. right? So like it guard points. However, there are a few catches to this. So let's say they do this, right? And you saw walking. So they can keep it up. But the problem here is that they have to do something. And I have armor. And all the options are single hit. If I don't have buff, this is far more of an issue. But if I do EX, but if I do it, weird words. So, but if I do it with armor, this basically renders this move. The risk is so much higher. Because you have to treat it like spot dodge. Like if you think it's coming, you generally want to command throw them. However, you get the added benefit if you have armor, you can just wait. So it's just something. It's something to consider, for sure. It basically wins and loses against all the stuff that spot dodge would. It's just easier to punish with it, mainly. Oh yeah, one last thing is that I need to talk about this super. So this super is one of the few cases where I don't just free you up. Mainly because of how far she flies. I can't really like react. I have to guess on this one. Yeah, because like I would have to guess. Yeah, I would have to guess a stance for you to really keep you there. I can just react to make sure that I don't get like lit up. There's something to be mindful about. Both of you just end up back in a neutral position. So when Zeta's low on health and she has bar, that's an option for her to get out. And you have to guess to really, like, keep her back in. So you have to either stance you it on a read, or you need to call out her doing the input with, like, stance with the stance low, and she's one of the better characters at punching the low, so be mindful. Vaseraga himself is so trash at dealing with his own shit. So, I'm not gonna bother. So Beelzebub. So his DP is one hit, which means he is about to get freed up unless his DP has specific special properties. Yeah, so like L loses, medium loses, loses. So yeah, his DP against Armored Walk is worthless, basically. But he has a command throw super. So he has an option where you have to guess. And his other super, I don't think they're gonna do this. He can hold it. So let me see if I can do this. Yeah, because this is... Oh, it's like Percival. Okay, you have to match command throw super. If you want him to guess, you have to match command throw super, otherwise he's just gonna free you up. Let me check Super Skybound just to make sure. Yes. Wait, do I even need to do that? Oh, God. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. He gets freed up. So, so yeah, Bubs gets freed up, mostly. Unless he has 100 meter, then he can guess with command throw super. So, but I think for the command throw super, I can treat it like La Diva's normal super, where I can just finesse him with range. Oh yeah. You can just... Yeah, you can just free him up with range. Yeah, it's just like La Diva's normal super. You can free it up with range. So that's what this is, Armea. So she has DPs in both stances. So I'm gonna have to check a few things. So start with Dawnfall first. Please tell me. I have no idea what some of these other things are. I hope this is easy. Oh, that's only 2 hits. Oh, wait, are you kidding me? Okay, you die. That's good to know. So she definitely has to EX. So let's go to EXDP. Oh. Oh, you're like Catalina. Okay. Yeah, you're Catalina. Okay. Yeah. Except slightly easier than Catalina. So let's check the other stats. Where's get specific settings? Here we are. Free flutter and counterattack. I have no idea what the name of DP is, so I'm going to assume it's the second one, whenever free flutter comes up. Wait, that's free, like... Because the guard point has to activate. Like... And you get freed up! Like, I don't have to care! That's the ice. Yeah, if she uses L, she dies. Let me just check M, just to be thorough. Wait, why is that only 2 hits? They just want her to get freed up. That's too easy. It's too easy. If she's in that stance, that's too easy. Like... Cause let me do it without buff, and I just try to react to the parry. Cause I don't think I can do that. Wait, take off Soul Forge. Yeah, that doesn't look reasonable, but... They're not always going to DP at that timing, so... That doesn't look reasonable at all. And I can't even get the armor out in time. So that does it for all the characters basically. But for a visual for the supers. So y'all at least get to see it. Oh, I didn't put the armor back on. I'm stupid. So her normal super is only one hit, so it's bad unless you absolutely know their swing. You just won't get counter hit. The other one, I am going to take a little bit. I'm going to take some damage. Oh, never mind. It's like personal. It's like personal. I'm not taking that much damage. That Vaseraga was entirely in my favor. So yeah, that's about the important ones. Basically tested Narme and Buzz on streams. I haven't even gotten to them yet, so let's get the check. Were there any questions? Yeah, there's no like clear-cut answer. You have to guess. Oh, you weren't here for the Charlotta part? So for Charlotta, she has her EXDP. I cannot press stance U in between the hit stop of it. It's too fast. So she has the best DP in terms of dealing with it. She also has the parry to deal with like me just walking, so it forces me to like take action too. So she probably has the best overall options against it once you have her blocking. Then other than that, it's like the universal options that you have to like cycle between. Anyone else? For people that came late, I'm gonna put this on YouTube so y'all can just watch then. Vaseraga himself. He's probably the worst. He's probably the worst at it. Like he has to use mostly the universal stuff too. I really should get a bot for that, huh? I really should. Cause like, if he tries to armor anything, if he tries to do armor or anything that's not like mashing stance or for some reason, like this is the kind of stuff that can happen. Like this situation is like hot and gone. And even then, It's like we're both basically forced to guess. The games I played were done at Base's house, so Base has to upload them. Whenever she gets around to doing that, they'll be on YouTube. Yeah, she should be whenever she gets to it. It's gonna be on her channel, not mine. So let me see if I can find it for y'all. Does she have it in an info section? Okay, yeah, here it is. So whenever she uploads it, it'll be here. Because that's her channel. She has like a huge backlog to upload too, so it's something she's gonna have to get through. So, yeah, it's like Vasaraga's options, at least the character-specific ones, are like very messy. Cause y'all have to, yes. That's only one hit, and it's too easy. That's only 2 hits, and because of the hit stop, you'll get counter hit. They play. I don't think they stream though. They definitely play. But if no one else has any questions, I think I'm going to sign off now, because I am quite hungry. And I need to handle a few things, so I will see y'all later. What's it? Let's say. Alright, so yeah, this will be on YouTube tonight, hopefully.